Charlie, isn't that Carl and Andrea over there?
Yeah, are they fighting?
It looks like it. Oh man, they are really going at it. You know, it'd be really funny if this were like a boxing match or something.
Diddle-doo, 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 diddle-doo. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2012 Relationship Disagreement Bout. My name is Charlie Hogspot, and this is my partner,
Brian Lukefish. And let me tell you, Charlie, I'm really excited to be here today.
It's hard not to be. Just listen to that crowd.
Not surprising, since these are the championships. Not to mention that the tension for this bout has been building up all season long.
That's right. Tonight we finally get to see the deciding match between Carl and Andrea.
We've watched these two duke it out several times over the course of the season, and now it all comes down to this final match.
Who will walk away the victor?
We're about to find out. Oh, and there's the starting bell. It's time for round one.
And it looks like the opening move goes to Carl, and it looks like he's playing it safe for the moment.
I know, he's leaned in, but he's not using any harsh gestures. This is definitely a calculated opening move.
And Andrea repels his point with the quick snap of her head.
A nice counter for sure.
It put him off a bit, but Carl is moving back in for the attack.
Andrea has assumed the classic defensive stance. Her arms and legs are crossed and she is leaning back in her chair.
Well, at this early point in the fight, there's not a whole lot she can do. If you've kept up with their various bouts over the season, you'll know that Carl has just been building up his material for this confrontation.
Oh look, Carl just made the first major offensive maneuver of the match.
And it looks like he's gone with the classic karate chop to emphasize his point.
And see how quickly Andrea dismisses his attack with a ready hand wave.
An amazing counter.
Carl is clearly frustrated by the failure of his attack. See how he sits back in his chair and crosses his legs? A very deliberate action.
An obvious attempt to recover.
Exactly.
Andrea is obviously pleased with her counter. See how she takes a sip of her drink and relaxes into her chair. This fight just swung strongly in her favor.
That raises the question, how will Carl come back from that?
Well, honestly, Carl's not in too bad a position. I mean, Andrea warded off his attack, but if she's going to have a chance at defeating him, she's going to have to go on the offensive.
You're absolutely right, Charlie. Oh wait, it looks like Carl has something up his sleeve. He's relaxed into his chair, and while his legs are still crossed, there's a slight smirk he's got on his face.
He's leaned in slightly.
The crowd is holding its breath in anticipation.
And there it is! Oh man, listen to that crowd cheer. Carl got a great hit in on that time.
He sure did, and it sounds like that's the end of round one. Andrea was completely taken by surprise there at the end. I'm guessing she really didn't see that last move coming.
It was an excellent play, though I think Andrea will be much more on her guard from now on. Carl may have hurt himself more than helped by using that move so early on in the bout.
And it looks like the two of them are ready for round two. There's the bell. And Andrea isn't waiting a second. Look at that quick succession of blows.
And what a variety of moves, too. She used the classic karate chop, the finger point, and ended with the dramatic throwing her hands up in the air.
Oh man, is Carl completely outmatched now.
Now Andrea's on the warpath. Do you think it was wise of Carl to pull her out of her defensive position?
To be honest, I'm not certain, Charlie. I mean, while she was in that defensive stance, Carl was relatively safe. On the other hand, it's hard to say if he could have won that first round without putting her on the offensive.
True. Hold on. Carl just threw something. I'm not sure if it was at Andrea or the trash, but he certainly threw something.
A sure sign of frustration. She's really getting to him now.
Look at the move he's using now.
Ah, yes, a well-known defensive gesture. Notice how he throws his hand up by his face and makes that dismissive gesture. He's trying to brush her arguments to the side.
He's trying to get back on the offensive.
And it looks like he's succeeded a little bit. He's back on the karate chops again.
Andrea isn't backing down, though. It's a battle of wills right now.
Indeed. See how Andrea has kept up her aggressive stance? And she is gripping her cup, which, if you'll notice, is nearly empty by this stage in the game. So the cup then becomes almost like a weapon, a tool she can use to emphasize her points.
Smart move emptying that cup, I think.
I think so.
Do you think she's forcing him off his game plan? Because from the looks of things, he wasn't expecting her to come back like this.
It's certainly possible. Andrea's cold and cool attitude doesn't seem to be what Carl was anticipating, and now his whole game is up in the air.
It just goes to show you how important it is to know your opponent. You've got to have a good scouting system, otherwise you underestimate your opponents and you get surprises just like Carl is getting in this bout.
Oh, what's this? It looks like Carl is getting up out of his chair. Oh, and there's the bell! Round 2 goes to Andrea!
I can't believe it!
I'm just as surprised as you are, Charlie. Now this is a major turn of events. Andrea just might be able to bring home the championship.
She must have really gotten under his skin to make him essentially hand her the second round.
Well, her technique is very well formed. You saw the combination of moves she used, not to mention the excellent use of her empty cup.
Carl stepped back into the ring. He's sitting down.
Look at that determination on his face.
Do you think he can still pull off a victory out of this?
Hard to say. I mean, he does seem more determined now than he did during that last round, but he is clearly still upset. And that is going to have an effect on his gameplay.
And there's the bell! This is a truly exciting game, everyone. We've just begun the last round of the 2012 Relationship Disagreement Bouts, and right now it could go either way.
Both Carl and Andrea know what's at stake here, and they are not holding back anymore. Just look at how quickly they launched into it.
Carl in with 2 quick karate chops.
Andrea fires away with 3 very strong finger points.
Carl's brushing her finger points away with a quick dismissive gesture.
Oh, but Andrea counters with a firm cup-in-hand attack. Notice how her elbow is firmly planted on the table, giving her move that much more strength.
Carl has adjusted his seat. He has adjusted his seat.
Aha, the old shift your seat to regain ground in an argument move. And the execution was perfect.
A nice dodge. He did well to hold that move until now. Andrea almost had him there.
Andrea is changing tactics. She's put down her cup and she's put both her hands on her hips.
Oh, the power stance. I haven't seen anyone use it this well in a long time. Look at that. Hands on the hips, the shoulders are square, and the back is straight.
With a slight leaning in of the head.
Carl just threw both hands up in the air.
It looks like he doesn't know what to do now that Andrea's assumed the power stance.
Andrea just stood up and leaned in, putting both hands on the table.
A risky maneuver.
But it looks like it's going to pay off. Carl just stood up and threw his cup to the ground and stepped on it.
He's knocked over his chair and is walking away.
The crowd is in an uproar.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Andrea's pulled out of this the champion of the 2012 Relationship Disagreement Bouts. Let's see if we can get a word or two from the new champion.
Andrea, you've just won the 2012 championships. How do you feel?
I'm pretty excited, to be honest. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pull a victory out of this match.
Well, now that you've won, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to take some time off, but then it's going to be back to the gym to prepare for next year's season. I may have beaten Carl this year, but I do have a new boyfriend now, and we all know what that means.
We most certainly do. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. This has been a truly rewarding experience. We hope to see you here next year.
Stay tuned for the Dyslexic Figure Skating Championships coming right up. This has been Brian Luke Fish.
And I'm Charlie Hogspot, wishing you all a good night.